All right.
That's not from being a vampire.
It's fate.
Yes, I know, but it makes sense. Can we start off with the two of you giving me a brief description of yourselves and how you ended up here? Not what you saw once you got here, not what you did once you got here, just how you got here.
I'll let you go first, Jason.
I've pretty much just got mine done, so I'll just reckon follow along with yours. Because we never did the whole how we met thing, so I'll let you handle that.
I'll handle that. You start with your description.
You mind if I just kind of skip the freaking character description? What he looks like. I'm just gonna go off with what he the actual picture.
Okay, so Jason's character is, I'm guessing his name is Sullivan, and he looks like the portrait picture. Great. Whereas
I hate freaking describing that. Okay, come
on. Whereas
what about people who are just listening and not watching?
Yeah. For the visually inept. That makes it sound like it's their fault.
Alright, so Sullivan is a white-haired vampire with yellow eyes. He does roam around in some scale mail, and he's got some nice fine clothes. But he roams around with unequipped for some reason.
Okay, that seems pretty fair. And my character is Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III. He is a...
I'm not calling it that.
Damn straight you will. That is his title, god damn it. So he is a noble who happens to be...
Oh, you too?
Yeah, happens to be a werewolf. Well, he has a fairly young looking face, but the age on his face, you can see a little bit of age lines there, and a little bit of strain. And his collar sits fairly high on his very fine frilled sleeved shirt. He always wears at least a overcoat and a vest, but he's often wearing an overcoat, a vest, a liner vest, and tails as well. You'll never see him in shorts. He's always wearing a finely made slacks, and always wears very nice shoes. He walks along with the aid of a cane that, well, it's not really spoiling anything. It is a sword cane. It holds his rapier. And his long hair is always neatly tied back, but no matter how neat it is, it always seems to have a little bit of wildness about the edge. He's a very prim and proper, and concerns himself a fair decent bit with manners and protocol. Other than that, I believe that Sullivan and Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III found their way here after going for a bit of a stroll out on the sloping lawns. They're an old friends that have known each other for quite some time, and yeah, as they've been strolling along, they ended up finding themselves in this situation at hand. And I guess that's where we hand over to you, Nicky.
Yes. So, while gallivanting around the small town of Dunga, on your nightly strolls, you discover a quaint little chapel a short distance away from the town. As you get closer, you notice the structure is made of a combination of wood and cobblestone. The workers obviously tried their hardest, but they were nowhere near as skilled as those city folk. Upon reaching the temple's grounds, you notice that there are a mess of bodies that appear to be ripped to shreds in front of the doorway. What do you do?
Alright, so Sullivan's a bit of connoisseur of blood, so he's gonna go taste test.
Okay, from the taste, it appears that there's 4 different bodies, although you wouldn't be able to tell by looking at it. And they, by the taste of their blood, have been there for a differing length of time each one.
Yeah, it looks like someone's been dumping the bodies outside. But peasants never really tasted too nice. You should get some noble blood.
Well,
Always tastes so good.
well, Sullivan, you know that we cannot be going around and sampling those of the
I mean,
same.
I've been alive for a couple of 100 years. I know. I mean, I've been chased off a few times already.
Yes, well, perhaps that's why you live in a creepy tower and I live in the town. But
You live in a what?
I live in the town. But, well, as nasty as this business may be, perhaps I have something that might describe as to how they ended up finding themselves in this situation. And with that, Dr. Edmund Bloomington III, Mortimer Edmund Bloomington III, rather.
Just call yourself freaking doctor, for God's sake.
He goes over and pokes around at the remains with the end of his cane, very disdainfully.
From what you can gather, any equipment they might have is covered in decayed flesh and would need a good scrubbing before it would be of any use for Dr. Mortimer Edmund Bloomington III, as he's a bit too prim and proper for that sort of shit. However, there seems to be that each one of them has a mysterious note. Are you seeing them when I do this?
No.
Okay. As you inspect the notes, I'll get Elyh just to read just one of them out. And sorry, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Bloomington III to read just one out. And then you can tell me what you notice about the 4 notes.
Dear adventurer, your reputation has reached our ears, and we would like to hire your services. A year ago, we sent a few members of our order to restore a temple at the town of Dunga, which had fallen into disrepair. We have not heard from them since. We would like you to go and investigate what has happened. If you are successful, your efforts shall be rewarded handsomely. Yours truly, the Holy Order of Chauntea.
Holy? Ugh, I hate the holy types. They always taste like bread.
Do either of you have knowledge of religion by any chance?
Probably, Sullivan probably does have some knowledge, but probably forgotten most of it.
Okay, well in that case we won't go too much into that. Can you tell me what you notice about all 4 of these notes?
They come in order.
What about the contents of these notes?
It takes a while to load.
Well, all of these notes appear to be pretty much identical.
Almost as if they were written out generically and sent off randomly. Perhaps this holy order was just hoping that one of these would be able to solve the problem. But it appears that all 4 of them are dead.
It would appear that there is some form of scheme afoot, potentially involving a prince of some far-off Middle Eastern country.
Well, Chum, you have the most craziest imagination.
Well,
Like, I mean, not even dogs have that kind of imagination.
I'm surprised you don't have that sort of imagination. You spend all your time alone. Except for our lovely strolls, of course. And when you feed. Ugh.
Hey, I have my own stroll. Just because someone dies on those strolls does not mean that it is not a stroll.
Seems like a waste of a walk to me. Like golf.
What is this
Wait,
golf
actually
you speak of?
like golf? What's wrong with you?
Game for noblemen and commoners alike. Although the commoners are best left at the, well, at the 8th hole.
Do you even be able to swing a bat? Then again, I can't really imagine you swinging one too well.
I happen to be quite dexterous, if you would believe that.
Alright, so how would you like to proceed?
Very first thing that Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would like to do is pull out out of his pack that he carries some very fine leather armor. And he says, if we are going to investigate this nastiness, then I think I should dress for the occasion. And he very carefully takes off his overcoat and then pulls on the armor over the top before putting the overcoat back over.
I don't know why you don't bring your armor on. You should just wear it before you go out.
Oh, don't be ridiculous. You dress for the situation, and we weren't planning on going adventuring. We were going for a stroll. That's why I wore my, well, less nice shoes. And looking at them, they are ridiculously fine.
Yeah. I never understand your taste of clothes. Armored always looks better.
Yes, well, you must just be a little bit lower on the social ladder. Oh, of course. You live alone. Oh, I'm so
Hey,
sorry.
I've lived a lot longer than you. I may not remember where my noble blood comes from, but I definitely know that I've been a noble a lot longer than you.
Well, some people live it, and some people breathe it.
You're like to be your ancestor.
Oh, I doubt that. None of my ancestors had, yellow eyes. And I'm not blonde! Come on, let's go and investigate. And, he'd step over the bloody mess, like, with extreme disdain for it all. Kind of, like, lifting his nose.
Can you roll me a dexterity check to see if you can make it over without stepping in the blood?
Sure. A dexterity or a acrobatics?
Either one of those two would work.
That's okay. That's an 18.
Graciously and without any kind of hurrah, much to the GM's disgrace, you gracefully step over the bodies.
Aha! Have at thee!
I really don't get you. It's just blood. It tastes delicious.
Well,
When it's cold, though.
it might taste good, but it's no good on your clothes. It takes too long to get out. What am I talking
Crimson
about?
red is a great color. It goes with anything.
Yes, well, it doesn't go so well with blue. Royal blue. Come on!
You're in the way. Stop blocking the door.
No, I pushed the
Move.
door open.
I would recommend that you just move up to the same level, please, Sullivan. Alright. Okay. Once inside the temple, you notice that it's been practically cleared out. Anything that could have been of potential value has vanished. Due to your noble blood, it does occur to you that it is actually fashioned quite similarly to a city cathedral.
Oh, of course.
All that's inside are the wooden pews, the pulpit, the stone altar. And as you step in, suddenly the doors close behind you with a loud bang. If you were trying to be sneaky, everyone inside now is aware of your presence.
Oh god, it's a cathedral! Let's get out of here!
Oh, my old friend, you've stepped into a holy place.
Oh
dear.
God, I hate these places. I've got the crawls under my skin. Ugh.
Come now, let's sniff out what this is about. Closing doors and some such.
Does Sullivan actually try to leave the temple?
Yeah.
You find that the doors do not budge.
Alright, someone's playing a prank. Open up the door, it's probably one of those dead bodies. Probably someone made it into a zombie.
Very well, and Dr. Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III lifts up his cane and raps on the door 3 times sharply.
Nothing happens.
Ah! Nothing for it! In we go! Ha ha ha!
No
Creepy night.
windows. If I see a freaking cross, I'm just gonna destroy it right away. Yeah.
You are aware that this is a temple of the Holy Order of Chunti.
Chontia?
Chuntia. So, you don't see any kind of Christian symbols around. There are
Just assuming.
what appears to be windows, but when you try to look out at them, all you see is black.
Fuck it, I'm gonna go up to one of those windows and try and smash it open. Everyone already knows we're here. So where's one of the windows? Okay, walking over.
The glass doesn't even acknowledge the existence of whatever you've banged it with. But you hear...
What is, wooden benches or something? I don't know. There's gotta be something on the floor they could just grab and throw it at the window.
As this is happening, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III is strolling his way forward, kind of looking a little bit like Leonardo DiCaprio in that meme. Like,
Sullivan, the wooden bit of off-cut from a pew that you've torn off and thrown at the window bounces back, almost as if the window is solid stone.
hearing the bit of the pew hit the deck, Dr. Mortimer turns around, his tongue hanging out just for a moment before he snaps it back closed. And then, having seen sort of like the situation, looks at Sullivan and says, "Come now, friend, you don't want to stake yourself. Let's go explore this place."
There is a noise from up ahead. Almost as if it's in the same area as the altar.
I just want to quickly do Eldritch Sight. So yeah, it's use detect magic essentially.
The wall's fucking magical.
What type of magic?
Just you can't break it kind of magic. It's a one shot, okay? Not too much thought went into that. Didn't expect you to try and escape. At least not through the window.
Yeah, and also that staking myself was one time, and it didn't go through my heart, so it was fine.
Well, it was still a close call. Come along, my friend. Come along.
And roll for initiative.
Okay.
And it was your fault as well. Wait.
Well, you get that when you interrupt someone in their game of fetch.
Sorry, fair what? Got it.
You get that when you interrupt someone in their game of fetch.
Up ahead, you suddenly become aware of the presence of two strange-looking beings coming out in ritual garb, coming out of the two rooms up ahead.
Oh, they look like your servants, Sullivan. Come along.
I left all my servants back at my castle.
Well, then that means we can dispatch them.
I probably should have waited till you guys are a bit closer. Sullivan, you go first.
Since you're so far away, I'll be able to take care of this rather easily. Hold it in my hand, wipe up. Okay. For some reason it's a little bit fucked up. Alright, so... Sorry, just give me a sec. I added it from the freaking spell thing, but apparently it didn't add it properly.
Okay.
I don't know if you'd be able to cast there, because wouldn't those stairs be leading up?
Yep.
So would you be able... Would
Well,
Sullivan...
if we can see them, we can target them.
Yeah, this is what I'm asking. Would Sullivan actually be able to see where they're coming from?
I've got 120,
No, this is like an obstacle being in the way. That whole section would be elevated.
I'm just going to move you up to where I was planning on releasing them.
Okay.
You can see them, but they are slightly elevated.
So how high up?
Do it at disadvantage. I say they're high enough up that it is on a bit of an angle, especially considering
angle,
there's a pulpit in front of this one.
There's cover system. Like half cover is I think is like 2 AC, and then like 3/4 cover is about +5 to AC.
Okay, quarter cover then.
That's 8 and make it fourth. Aim. Oh, alright. Now it should work. There we go. I do it on the one on the left.
This one?
Yep.
And it hits.
Jolly good shot there, Sullivan.
It kind of makes him stumble a little bit, but other than that, not much. And were you planning on moving? Sorry, I skipped your turn order.
Yeah, let's go up a little bit ahead.
Okay.
Dude, dealing with zombies is always annoying.
I'd move up to here, and I would take draw my rapier and basically stand at guard. I'm effectively taking the dodge action.
Dodge?
Yeah.
Okay.
So all attacks at him would be at disadvantage.
Okay. All right.
No combat.
Nope. It's just going to be this the whole way through. I didn't have time. It wasn't... Well, no, I uploaded stuff. It just wasn't showing up, so... Hang on. Nope. There we go. Does that work?
Yep.
Okay. All right. It moves closer to you. As it gets closer, you notice that the garb it's wearing matches the cloth on the altar.
Ah. Well then.
Where's the altar?
Be there.
Sorry, the point is there. It's like if we can see at the altar from the end how the cloth looks like. Why can't we see them?
The altar's elevated.
Yeah, it's hanging over the side of it. Almost like a flag on the side of the wall. All right.
Oh, that's alright. I can't do it this time. Alright, so I pull out sword out of the Nita this turn. Like, you'll take the first hit.
Well, if you insist.
And that's me too.
Okay. So on my turn, I'd move over and engage this one.
Yep.
And I would, in a very classical fencing pose, would have one hand held out behind and elevated, and the other with the weapon drawn out, and go for a very dramatic lunge towards the creature's head. Yelling, "Have at thee, you undead fiend!" And with a natural 20 on the roll.
Yeah, that hits.
14 for damage.
14 damage. Yeah, it's looking pretty bloody.
I'll look back to Sullivan and say, "Oh, I'm sorry. I did not mean to insult you by bringing these up in the same class of undead. They obviously walk in lower social circles."
Sorry, you kept cutting out. I couldn't hear the important parts.
You're basically just saying, "Sorry I insulted you by implying that these things were on the same level as you."
Level as me?
Undead.
Oh.
What is your AC, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Plymington III?
It would be 16.
Alright. The zombie slams into you with and does 3 bludgeoning damage.
Oh, jolly good.
I'm sorry, were you really hit by a zombie?
Well, I don't see you up here joining me in the fray.
And the second one approaches you. And with a just misses.
Very well.
And it is once again Sullivan's turn.
Come now, Sullivan, show me what you are made of. Oh, actually, should mention that I have resistance to half damage to any attacks that aren't silvered and or magical.
Okay. So these do barely anything to you.
So that would be, what, 1 point of damage that I took on that?
Yeah, the first one was a 3, so yeah, that
rounded down to 2.
Yeah, so it would be a 1.
Oh.
Do we round it down?
Well, it's up to you. Round up or round down?
I'll go round up.
Okay.
And we'll do that for the rest of the thing.
No
The
worries.
damage. So that's a 2 and a 1.
2 and a
Total
1.
of 3 damage.
The second one hit me? I thought you said it missed.
Oh, it missed. Yeah.
Yeah.
2 damage. Yeah. What are you doing, Sullivan?
Seems like you can't even finish your own job.
Ah, well, seeing as you were the one that struck it first, it seems like you can't finish your own job.
No, let me show you how it's done. Crit.
So, how would you like to kill this guy?
From frickin' the neck down to the frickin' down to the hip, just chop it in half.
So your greatsword just swings out, and with a great big slash from the shoulder to the hip is just gone. And it kind of slowly plops to the ground.
And as it plops to the ground, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Plymington III steps away from it and the nastiness that it's probably oozing on the floor. And then strikes out again and says, "Strike at you and your undead ways." And again looks over at Sullivan and says, "Sorry." That was a 17.
And that one, I should have put the AC in with the things. Definitely hits.
It's 7 piercing damage.
Yeah. It's looking like it's had better days.
Okay. And that's my turn.
Alright. And this zombie again is coming for you, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III. And with a... it again misses.
I like to think that he parries the hand away.
Which leaves you, Sullivan.
Come now, Sullivan.
Seems you're having a problem as simple as zombies. Doing my dwarf voice.
I was about to say, not everyone is one here.
Be sure you'll have it truly done.
With an 18 on the roll.
Yep,
13
and
slashing damage.
that zombie, he is pretty close to death, or re-death, I should say.
Okay. Is it your turn?
Yep.
And with that, he lunges out again, going for trying to get a strike in under the chin, heading up towards the head. Oh, it's a 25 to roll, so 13 piercing damage.
With that extra damage, how would you like to take out this zombie?
I want to drive the rapier right through the underside of the jaw, straight up into the zombie's brain, and then with that, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III is going to look very pleased, and then immediately disgusted as like a little bit of the ooziness drips down onto his fine white leather gloves. He whips the rapier back out and like flicks it all away and like, oh, nasty.
All right. Well, do you inspect these bodies any further?
After, probably not before trying to find something that he can clean his gloves with. After that's done, he'd probably come over and poke around at the body with the end of his rapier.
Okay. From what you can gather, these might actually be the individuals that the senders of the notes were looking for, considering that their ritual garb matches that of the altar, and they're not exactly faring well, or themselves, for that matter.
Well then, Sullivan, it looks like these two not doing so well. He pokes it in the head again with the rapier just to make sure.
You manage to get him in the eyeball, and eyeball juice squeezes out and just in a burst, just narrowly missing your arm.
He looks very concerned at that. And then looks up and says, well, shall we look further into this place, Sullivan? There might be some crypts. I hear vampires like crypts very much.
Hey, Mapmaker doesn't get to come into play here.
Oh, no, that's a straight up observation. There's often crypts for chapels and churches. Places to inter the dead.
Okay. So what do you do moving forward?
Dr. Sullivan, Edmonton, I'll get it right eventually. It's my character and I can't even get the name right. Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington the third will step around.
Come on, Doctor, you got that time to waste.
Around the body and then make his way up the stairs. And looking at the altar from afar, how does the general layout of the altar look? Is it aesthetically pleasing?
Can you do me a perception check.
Sure. That's a 15.
It looks like an altar.
Okay.
You
Well,
get the impression that there's something more to it than that, but you're not quite sure what.
well, that looks like an altar of some sort.
Does my eldritch sight see anything different compared to the walls and the altar?
It's not at all magical. It's a stone altar with a cloth on the top and some candles and yeah, it's an altar. But are you looking at it rather intently there, Sullivan?
Yeah, sure.
Perhaps I shall get a perception check from you as well. Maybe I set this DC too high. Yeah, I set this DC too high. It's an altar. You get the feeling that there's something more to it than that, but it's an altar.
Well, with
Alright.
that, Dr. Mortimer would move on up and then start like knocking the candles over with his rapier and say, "This place is quite dreary, isn't it?"
You hit the items on the altar, but not the altar specifically.
Yeah, just knocking the candles over and like moving them around on top of the altar.
In which direction? Do you hit
like-
it this way or this way?
I'm imagining like there's a bunch of candles and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So he's just like knocking a bunch of them in all different directions.
Are you watching how any of them fall to the ground?
I'd probably take note of any that are falling to the ground. Otherwise, he'd just keep banging them
particular
around.
corner here doesn't seem to line up with the space on the ground that the altar is meant to sit on. And in a slight crack, you can see that there's something underneath it.
With that, he'd move on over and bend down and use his use the sheath of his rapier, the end of the walking stick, to move the cobwebs out of the way, and lean like a bend over and have a good sniff at it.
The air kind of smells cold and rank and dusty and musty, but you also get the hint of, maybe human, maybe not human, but definitely the smell of death. The death smell is there, and blood. You can smell blood.
Look, he'd kind of like side-eye look at Sullivan and say, "I think I can smell your next meal down here. But I'm not sure if I'm smelling you or more undead deathiness.
Death, or death, dead?
That. That and many more."
All right, and so what do you want to do about this newfound knowledge?
He'd look to Sullivan and say, "Fancy giving the altar a little bit of a shunt?"
Oh, I think there's something about it over there.
Nope.
Yeah, but as soon as he turns around, I'm gonna try and push him into it.
Right. Okay.
Considering like he's kneeling, like he's bent over looking at the floor and kind of like side-eyeing you, he's probably not going to look all the way over, and he's just going to say, "But Sullivan, I have already found that there is something at this location. Would you care to have a look?" And he'd step out of the way.
We've done this too many times before. I always push you into it, then you push me into it. I think I'm winning them.
Well, in this case, I think the altar is the one that should lose.
So what are you gonna do?
Kind of indicating that Sullivan should, take lead and help try and push this thing out of the way.
Do you do that, Sullivan?
Oh, I'm not really strength-based, but what else?
Who's taking the lead?
I guess I will.
Alright, can you roll a strength check for me with advantage because you have the assistance of Dr. Edmund Mortimer Plumington III? Plumington III?
This Collins, freaking doctor.
Yep, that well and truly pushes it out of the way. All of a sudden, the whole altar shifts and you're staring at a gaping hole with some cobwebs and other nasty bits and a wooden staircase.
Okay, I was going to say phrasing right up until you said wooden staircase.
Yeah. Why don't humans ever make stone staircases or metal staircases? It always has to be wood.
You're just afraid of falling through, Sullivan.
There's definitely a coldness about this place. Are one of you going to try the stairs?
Well, I'm always naturally cold. I'm already dead, you see.
It's cold even for you, Sullivan.
Dr. Plupington would be taking a moment to sort of dust off his gloves and inspecting them, and there's probably like a small little graze or like a scuff mark on them, and he's sort of like rubbing his fingers across them and looks at it and says to himself, well, seems like I need to replace these gloves. Come along, let's go.
Such a fucking prude all the time.
Well, I have a status to uphold. People look up to me, you know.
Alright.
Yeah, anyone that looks up to you is a complete moron as a jump in.
As you're going to jump in, he sort of like tries to give you a little bit of a kick, like a light little kick to the rump as you're heading down the stairs.
As you descend the stairs, you feel cobwebs brush against your face and any exposed bit of flesh on your arms and legs. At the bottom of the stairs, you discover a dark hallway leading forward with an opening at the end with faint flickering lights. What would you like to do?
I'd like to think as we're going down the stairs that Dr. Plupington is waving his rapier around, collecting a big wad of cobwebs.
Do I, since I've got, like, deeper dark vision, do I see anything,
Nope.
now?
Nope.
Just going down.
Yeah, just give me a moment. I'm just setting up your tokens on the other page because I didn't realize that didn't carry through.
And you said it was dark, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, so Dr. Plupington would be lighting a torch as well.
You can't see in the dark?
Nope.
Alright. Hang on a second. Don't move your token. Who's going first down the stairs?
Actually, I lied. He can see in the dark.
Oh, yeah.
Sutherland already said he was going first, so he went down first, so...
Sorry, that was my fault. I did hear that, but I was also distracted. Alright. Move you to here. And I shall reveal something.
As we're descending, Dr. Plupington is looking at the walls and at the general lack of architecture.
Yeah, it's just cobblestone. Well, not even cobblestone. It's like it's been dug out of whatever was there before, and there's some cobblestone reinforcements where there might have been some loose soil that's fallen away, and kind of get the impression that this wasn't well made, but it was made with care. At the end of the hallway, you discover that the flickering lights were candles lighting up the room you see before you. In the center of the room, there is a wrapped 7-point star enclosed in a circle at each point. There is a at each point there is a strange-looking symbol. Does anyone have a passive perception of 12 or higher?
No.
Okay. To the right of the star, there is a wooden bench covered in blood. At the other end of the room, you see a table covered in bloody animal remains. Throughout the room, you can see candles scattered around to light the space. And there also appears to be what looks like dead rats, almost as if they had crawled in looking for food only to die themselves.
With that, Dr. Ploopington would throw the torch into the room. I imagine it's probably going to go like about here somewhere.
Yep, and the torch sits on the floor, and the process of it hitting the floor seems to extinguish the light.
And Dr. Ploopington would say, "Well, carry on there, Sullivan. No point diddle-daddling around here."
How about you don't throw fire above my head? You already burnt my hair once.
You are such a worrywart there, Sullivan.
Nothing happened?
Nope.
So looking around, Dr. Ploopington is sort of like head on over and not
Just,
really paying.
Can you move one square? Can you move one square at a time?
Sure.
Sorry.
So he'd head on over and sort of like, you know, stand there, and then he'd go to here, and he'd sort of like look a little bit at the symbol in the center of the floor, and just look at it like kind of revolted that it has no real elegance to it. It's
Okay.
very...
Can you do a perception check for me?
Sure. Where is...
Can I tell what this girl is? I mean,
Nope.
being a caster and all?
Nope. You've never seen it before. It does have strange magical properties about it. And while Geez, could you have put your name down the bottom so I didn't have to go change tabs every time? Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III realizes that I have the wrong piece of paper. The star appears to have been painted in blood? Question mark?
Fair enough.
I mean, it looks like someone's trying to summon a devil. That's how you summon the devil. Oh, God.
Thank you, I appreciate it. Alright. So keep going.
So I rolled a 19 on my perception.
Yeah, you realised that it was painted in blood.
Right. I think Dr. Mortimer would probably reach out with his rapier and sort of like just scratch up the sigil here. He'd be like,
Except it doesn't seem to smudge. Odd.
ghastly. Such a terrible medium to paint in blood. And with that, he'd sort of like step over this way, kind of a little bit away from it.
Hey, you've never painted a wall in blood. It looks amazing.
Well, you just miss so
Like when
much
there's
of
the
the...
moonlight reflecting off the wall, it looks beautiful afterwards.
Well, you just miss all of the beautiful hues other than sanguine, fuchsia, rouge. Now these are real colors.
The only color you really need is a crimson red.
The rustiness of blood is just...
Sullivan, while you're there, are you observing that table of blood in any particular way? I thought I'd ask.
I'm kind of glancing over.
Okay. It appears...
Sullivan. Doctor.
It appears that it's piled upon piled upon piled blood. So it's like, in patches you can see almost 4 or 5 layers deep where it's completely dry and void of moisture, but then towards the top it's sticky, almost as if it's not quite fresh, but not quite old either.
Ugh. Someone needs to learn how to take better care of blood.
Well, you would know, my friend. And with that, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would have a look at the table and the skins and animal remains.
It's kind of not done by an artist, that's for sure. Or a surgeon, for that matter. It's haphazard and rough.
Could I tell what sort of animals have been spread out on the table?
You kind of get the impression that they're all local animals, but it's a wide variety. It's almost as if whatever wanders onto the property is what ends up on this table.
Would I find the remains of a cat? Like a cat's skull or like head or something like that?
Can you roll an investigation check for me?
I surely can. That's a 19.
You find like the claws and the bones from the paw.
He'd reach out and sort of like grab one of the claws by the claw, like just with like the thumb and forefinger, very daintily pick it up, and then like flick it into the middle of the circle. And just
Nothing
watch what
happens.
happens. Nothing?
Nothing happens.
Well, I don't particularly fancy standing in the middle of that. How about we make our way out?
We can't get out of you, don't remember.
Oh,
Alright.
You can tell there's a doorway there, can't we?
Yes. So, some sections of the crypts I'm going to talk you through. This is one of them.
Okay.
Moving about 10, 15 feet in front of you, you see that there's a tunnel in front of you, and you see that it leads to the left and to the right. Do you make your way to the end of the hallway to have a look left and right?
Yeah, I think Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would definitely go down and investigate. And he'd sort of be walking along with a little bit of renewed jig in his step. Casual stroll.
Once you reach the end of that hallway and you look, which direction do you look first, left or right?
Well, always look for traffic. He would look to the right.
All right. To the right, you can see that the veering off to the right and further forward, there seems to be an opening, but you can't really see what is beyond that. And to your left, there's an opening, and through the opening, you can see that there is an offshoot going forward in that direction.
Okay.
Who's drawing on my map?
I have no idea, but I can't see it because the fog of war is in the way.
So basically, left or right?
Well, Sullivan, have you got any ideas as to which direction we should head?
See, we flip a coin, and heads we go right, and left we on tails.
Very good, very good.
There's
Pull out a double tail coin. Go.
all right, roll me a 1d2. Is one heads or tails?
I think he pulled out a double tail coin, so I guess we're going left.
Okay. You proceed down the offshoot that goes left and then forward, I'm guessing?
Yeah.
You head about, 30 feet forward when all of a sudden there's an offshoot to your left, or you could continue going straight.
I think when we get to this intersection, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would stop and kind of sniff the air. Can he smell anyone around?
You smell the same sort of smells you smelt at the opening.
Nothing particularly, like nothing new, no stronger scent or anything?
No stronger scent.
Well, up to you, my friend.
But they say we go left.
Left it is.
Okay, you start heading left, and the hallway widens a little bit, and you can see 40 feet ahead of you. Wait, can either of you see 40 feet?
I can see 60
I can see
feet.
120.
Okay, yeah. 40 feet ahead of you, at where the hallway seems to stop, there's a strange-looking chest. But also, just before you head down that direction, there's an offshoot heading to the right.
A chest, you say?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't have a key. Do you, Sullivan? Ha ha ha. I jest.
Remember what happened to the last chest we opened?
No, please refresh my memory.
Last time it grew teeth and nearly bit my arm off.
Well, what's the chances of it happening twice? Ha ha! It must be like lightning. It won't strike again.
Then there was that time where we started laughing, and then the table started laughing. We killed the table.
Yes, that table was most obnoxious. Waffling all the time.
Yeah, stunning creatures mimics art.
Yes.
So have you decided to go right, or go ahead and have a look at the chest?
I've been deciding this entire time.
Yep.
Sorry, I didn't hear that.
Oh, I've been deciding this entire time, so I'll let you choose.
Well, let's go and have a poke around at this chest, shall we? And as we get close to the chest, he looks at Sullivan and says, "Better safe than sorry," and pokes the chest with the rapier.
It's an ordinary wooden-looking chest.
There you go. It can't
Poke it a
possibly.
little harder.
Okay. Well, you've got a bigger sword. You poke it.
Good point.
My
Nice.
bent.
Go to like cut off the top of the freaking chest open.
You
Like doing it sideways.
You bust the chest open. Can you roll me a 1d8, please?
Let's see what I break.
The skeleton's hip.
You find 5 gold pieces, 30 copper pieces, and 15 silver pieces.
Peasants change. What do we expect in a holy place?
Ugh.
Do you pick it up?
Nope.
Nope, you leave it where it is?
Yep.
For once, I agree with you.
Okay,
Why would noble blood take peasant change?
so shall you continue to the right, or do you want to go up to the offshoot you saw before?
Well, we've gone left many a time. Let's go right for a change.
Alright. And you go 20 feet before you discover that you can continue straight or you can go right.
20 feet? I poke my head around the corner and look down that offshoot. How far does that one seem to go?
40 feet. And it just seems to be straight. You can see the impression that maybe there's 1 or 2 offshoots, but you can't really tell.
Just go straight this time.
Very well, let's go straight. And just strolls along.
You reach the end of the corridor, and to your left, are you sniffing this entire time?
Yeah, just like as a general rule, pretty much every time we get to an intersection, he's kind of sniffing and.
Alright. As you can kind of almost smell. Well, it just smells very dusty, like very dusty, and almost insecty, like there's dead insects around.
Insects. Well, may as well keep looking.
So are you going to continue down that direction?
I guess we are.
You come to an opening. In the opening you see kind of a corridor full of cobwebs. Or you can turn left just before the opening and go down another tunnel.
What say you, Sullivan? I fancy torching the webs, but that's just me.
I'm getting sick of walking down these hallways.
Well, it beats sleeping for an eternity.
Hey, you wake up feeling amazing.
You don't wake up at all when you sleep for an eternity. Ah.
So are you going into the opening, or are you going down the other corridor?
I think just sort of out of idle curiosity, he'd strike up another torch and then lob it in through the hallway with all the webs.
Give me a moment. Do you step into the room at all?
No, I think he's just lobbing the torch, probably like in the area where the webs seem to be the most dense.
You kind of see a few webs kind of catch a light, but they're not all necessarily interconnected. So maybe the one, if I can ping. Please let me ping. Why won't you let me ping?
Yeah, are you in the token tab? Token layer?
Okay. Here!
Aha!
That one seems to come alight, but for a few seconds before it's out again.
I'll quickly poke my head in and just see if there's anything inside.
Yeah, and
In which directions are you looking?
I'm actually just going to straight up start sniffing quite a fair bit.
Can the two of you please roll for initiative?
Do I smell anything within 15 feet of the entrance?
No.
Okay, so all good. Sure. 10.
Just give me a moment. Why does this take so long?
I don't know. Long intros on music tracks kind of get old.
I wasn't even talking about that. Okay. All right. I want to set that to descending, not ascending.
Aha.
Suddenly, a spider lowers itself down from above and moves to here.
Kind of like to think that we're both kind of like standing in the opening, kind of shoulder to shoulder and like heads almost touching, looking into the room, trying to work out what's going on.
And
So if I look up, what do I see?
oh, a lot of spiders.
Like how
Now I
many?
have to. Hang on a second, I'm revealing them. Can you mass reveal?
Yeah.
You can just click on all of them and then right mouse click
Eh.
or whatever it is, move to
Yeah.
layout.
At least 5. You see at least 5.
I mean, I've got a devil sight, so if they're darkness, I can see them.
And one big fucking spider over here. This one kind of.
It doesn't look like there's any doors in here, does it?
Nope.
Nope. And this one kind of crawls to here. And Sullivan, it's your turn.
Alright, let's get that. There's a huge fucking spider up there and a whole bunch of small ones.
Nasty things, spiders.
You're not going to engage?
I mean, there's no reward, so why would we?
Okay. Alright. So, do you go back the way you came, or do you continue down the corridor that was next to the door?
The path we haven't traveled.
Okay. You move 15 feet away from the spiders.
50, then move 30, can't we?
Yes, but the hallway only goes 15 feet. You can walk through the wall if you'd like to, but...
Hey, you don't know if I have mail through stone.
And then it turns to the right. Do you want to continue to the right?
Yep, sniffing the air as we go to try and get a sense if there's anything alive and moving.
45 feet up, you see an offshoot to your right, and about 5 feet ahead of you, there's an offshoot to the left.
Left.
Left it is! Onwards!
Okay. You take one step forward and you see a pathway to your left and a pathway to your right.
Left.
And you could also go straight ahead.
Left.
Okay. At the end of that hallway, you are forced to turn right. I am sorry. There is no other option.
We turn around and go back the way we came.
Really?
No.
You want to do that?
Keep going.
Alright. 15 feet up, there's an offshoot to your left, or you can continue forward.
Left.
That's fine, you'll just skip over all the good bits. You can go left or right. To the right, you see another chest. You still want to go left?
We'll go right, then we'll go left.
Alright, you approach the chest. What do you do with the chest?
I poke it.
Nothing happens.
I open it with my greatsword.
Okay, can you roll me a 1d8, please?
Yay.
5.
You find 1 healing potion and 2 empty vials.
It's a healing potion for me and a potential snack pack for you.
Yeah, I forgot to bring some. I only got my water skin for now.
Alright, you can either go left or back the way you came.
We'll go back to the way we came and go left.
Which technically our current left would be the previous right.
You find that you're actually in a square room with a wall down the middle of it. Sorry, a rectangular room with a wall down the middle of it. There's the entrance that you came in through, and there's an entrance directly opposite it. Which way would you like to go?
I don't know about you, Sullivan, but this place seems quite maze-like.
That's kind of the point. You guys are skipping all the good bits too.
I mean, when you go through a maze, it's, you can't really calculate where you want to go.
No, that's true. Do you want to go back the way you came or continue across the way?
If I use my aerial sight, do I detect any magic in the room?
Nope.
Anything?
Yep.
Or creepy crawlies on the roof?
Nope.
Alright, let's continue on.
I bring them back if you keep trying that though. Alright, up ahead you see that there's a dead end. But then when you approach it and you get closer, you realise that there's a bit of an illusion and there's actually an offshoot to your right.
Aha! To the right!
And you
I
enter...
try and push the left wall, and is there any like secret button?
Nope. To the right, you find yourself in a small opening with a chest.
Well, I believe this is my turn. Does it look locked from where I'm standing?
Nope.
Okay, so I walk over and... does it have a lock?
Nope.
Okay. So I walk over and I pull out a hand axe out of my bag and I hit it and try and like hack through the top.
Alright, roll me a 1d8, please.
Okay. A 5.
And you find a scroll.
I reach down through the lid and pull the scroll out and have a look at it. What do I see?
It's completely blank.
A blank piece of paper.
Yeah. Alright, I'm gonna use magic, detect magic to see if it's a magical scroll.
It's a piece of paper.
Damn. Oh. Heading back,
Alright.
alright.
Out of curiosity, I pop my water skin and like pour a bit of water over it,
It acts exactly as wet paper would act.
and then I stick it to the wall. And using the tip of my rapier, I kind of scratch in "Sullivan sucks" on the paper, on the parchment.
Okay. You can only turn right from here. Do you want to go back the way you came or turn right?
I try and left wall with the secret button.
Nope.
Damn.
Sniffing the air, do I get a sense of which direction is more fresh or which is more...
You get the sense that the further you've gone, the kind of deeper you've gone into the catacombs.
Yeah. But do I get an idea on which direction is more like dank and musty?
Back the way you came is a lot fresher than to the right.
To the right! Let's go!
Alright, so you turn right. The corridor comes to an end and you turn left because that's the only way you can go.
Damn
And
straight.
you come up to a T intersection and you can go left or right.
Left.
You turn left and once you come to the end of that corridor, you turn right because that's the only direction you can go. You're at the edge of the maze. You can go from there, left or right.
Left.
You go to the left and you turn right because that's the only direction you go in hard.
What?
It's a dead end.
I was gonna say, does any of this look remotely familiar as we've gone along?
Nope.
Okay. Because we're in a dead end, I'm going to... Every time we get to an intersection, I'm going to mark with an arrow on the ground using the tip of my rapier the direction to the dead end.
Okay. That is the dead end. To the right, you can see two offshoots that if you turn that direction will be on your left. There's one close to you and one a little bit further up.
Let's look at both before we go down one of them.
The one closest to you appears to lead into a room. The one furthest from you is a dead end.
Well, the room it is. Let's go look at that one.
Hang on a moment.
That'd be a lot of books.
Looking in.
Looking into the room, it still appears to be like dug out of the earth, but there's wooden bookshelves lining all four sides of the room, and in the middle of the room there is a book stand holding an open book. Do any of you have a passive perception of 13 or higher? And if I remember correctly, the answer is a no. Okay.
I'd like to look at the, circle around the room looking at the books. Do I get a sense of any common theme to anything?
You seem to have forgotten how to read because the GM didn't plan this bit. But can you roll me a perception check?
Sure. That's an 8.
It's a lot of books and a lot of dust.
I'm gonna go up. Book in the middle.
Yeah.
It's written there.
Seeing the dust, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Plippington III would remark, "They really need to get the maid to come through and dust this place."
Alrighty. Sullivan, what are you doing with the book?
I'm reading it.
You appear to be on the blank page at the start of the book before the writing actually gets started.
Right, turn the page.
As soon as you touch the page, it's sticky, and you cannot seem to let go of it as you roll for initiative.
Bum, bum, bum.
Mimic book. Should have learnt my lesson when I had a fight with a freaking map mimic.
Could be worse. It could be a mimic pretending to be a rug of strangling.
Sullivan, as it is your turn, you seem to be under the grapple condition. Your speed is now 0. How do you proceed, Sullivan?
I grab my sword and actually, I can't even think with that. Fuck it, I'm just gonna blast it with a freaking
Are you taking care not to hurt your hand?
No, he's planning on lopping it off at the wrist.
I'm gonna use my hand that's grappled to cast it from there, so it's coming out of that hand. So point blank.
Does it have a somatic?
Yes, that is a good point. Is it just a verbal spell? So are you actually able to cast that spell considering one hand is currently grappled?
I drop the sword and I freaking cast Eldritch Blast.
With your other hand?
Yep.
Okay. Roll to hit.
That's a 19.
And you hit.
For 6 points of damage.
Yes.
At this particular point, has the book changed to a more mimic shape, or is it still looking like a book sitting on a stand?
Still looking like a book sitting on a stand.
Okay.
But it's doesn't quite look right.
With that, Dr. Mortimer, Edmund Ploopington III would walk up and look at Sullivan and say, "Ah, Sullivan, have you got yourself a page turner here?"
Just help me up, get out of this stupid thing already.
Well, I wouldn't want to disrupt your reading, so with that, you take the hand axe and try and hack the stand in half, so that he can take the book.
The stand kind of crumbles beneath it, but the book is still well attached to your friend's hand.
That's quite a sticky read.
I'm honestly surprised that Sullivan hasn't attempted to escape from it. He's just thrown stuff at it. But that would be metagaming, wouldn't it?
On account that Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III has no idea what's actually going on, he's just going to look dumbfounded. That's his turn.
The book attempts to bite Sullivan. Just give me a moment. And it misses. It's too distracted. It's unable to actually form a bite considering you're holding a page of it. And it's now your turn, Sullivan.
It's the equivalent of "I've got your tongue."
What do you do, Sullivan? Jason?
Yeah. Does Doctor have any swords or anything on him?
Yeah, just his rapier and the hand axe that he used to chop down the stand.
Yeah, I'm just gonna try to grapple. Two hand. Actually, could I just use a freaking sword? One hand? Actually, not with one hand. I can't use my other hand whatsoever.
You can't use the hand that it's attached to, no.
Yeah, then I'm just trying to break it.
You try and shake it free.
Yep.
Can you roll me? Hang on, let me just check what the thing is. Also note, ability checks made to escape this grapple have disadvantage. That's a shame too, because that first one would have freed you. Is that your action?
Yep.
Alright. It's probably looking a little bit more mimic-shaped now, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III, but it's still well and truly adhered to your friend's hand.
Well...
I mean, we were just talking about mimics, so...
Yeah, seeing this, he'd be like, oh, you found yourself another one! And with that, he'd try and stab at the other page, so the page at the other side of the book that is not currently stuck to Sullivan's hand.
Okay.
That's a 25 to hit.
It starts bleeding.
Actually.
And... wait, do mimics bleed?
Oh, okay, yeah. No, that's okay. No, I thought for a second that the crit roll didn't actually work, but rolled an 18. Natural 18.
Yeah. Do mimics bleed?
I believe so.
Okay, it is bleeding and it looks like a mimic.
Okay.
And it seems like its tongue is actually what's adhered to Sullivan's hand.
Right.
And it's going to try and launch itself up with its tongue and bite at Sullivan's hand. 23 to hit. Does that hit?
Well, unless I'm wearing light and oh shit.
Alright, well, it does 8 piercing and 3 acid damage.
What was the damage?
8 piercing, 3 acid.
Yep. That it?
Yep.
So was it my turn?
Yes. Sorry. I'm just trying to double check if the acid damage actually does anything.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm just gonna try and blast this thing off me.
It's not trying to break the grapple, so is that still at disadvantage?
It's
Yes.
within 5 feet.
No, it's the grapple
Right.
attempt
Yeah,
that...
no, he's within 5 feet, so disadvantage for
Okay.
that makes sense.
Yeah. And that hits.
I'm so used to people having Warcaster.
And...
Warcaster doesn't do anything for that.
Removes disadvantage casting in melee range.
Really?
Yep.
It seems to be bleeding a little more, and... You didn't attempt to break the grapple, did you?
No,
No, because that takes my action, and I need to kill this thing.
Okay.
Yeah, and with that, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would also lash out. He's used to this, so he's on for board. That's a 20
And
hit.
are you taking care not to hit your friend?
Yes.
And you hit, and
7 piercing.
yes.
The mimic's turn.
And once again, it's going to try and launch up its tongue and bite you on the hand. And it hits. It does 8 damage, 8 piercing damage and 6 acid damage. I can't seem to find anywhere whether or not it says that acid damage does anything.
No, acid damage is just damage.
Okay. And that is its turn, Sullivan.
Yep, just blast it again. That's our...
And sadly, wait, nope. Hang on, let me check. Yeah, sadly that misses.
yeah, that's what I'm
Looking at Sullivan, how hurt does he currently look?
Sullivan
He's on 13 hit
is
points.
actually Sullivan's looking worse than the mimic, but neither are looking good.
Okay, with that, he will lash out with the rapier again.
Ooh, nice.
For a crit of 26 total roll, 13 plus 4. And he'll be like, "Release thy friend, you fiendish monstrosity."
It does not look good, as it tries to swing itself via the tongue and whack at Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III.
Yep.
And it hits for 7 bludgeoning damage.
Reduced to 4. Okay.
And it is Sullivan's turn. Basically, it was giving you a whack for hitting it. Okay. Yep, that hits. And it does not look good. Does not look good at all.
Okay. Yep, so he'll lash out another time with his rapier for a 16.
And you can tell that this thing is on its last legs. And it's going to lash out one more time at Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III in an attempt to save its own life, and it misses completely. It's not coping at all.
You miserable miscreant!
And it's Sullivan's turn.
Yep. Double 19.
Yeah, and how do you want to kill this thing?
I just blasted off my hand.
And it lands to the ground in a...
A
why
deflated
not?
fart. Well, it's a good thing you found that potion of healing there, Sullivan. It looks like you could use it.
It's rather convenient, almost like a Deus Ex Machina that he found it, isn't it?
Almost.
Yeah, if only there was some humans around.
But alas, only a werewolf.
Yes, that's in my head. Werewolf tastes like wet dog.
Haha.
Not trying that again.
That, and I believe it's not good for either of our constitutions to feed on a werewolf.
We might actually get this done in 2 hours, my friends.
So,
Down to health potion.
Yep. Nothing's stopping you.
D4 plus 2.
okay, so with that, I think Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III would start like going through with his hand axe and basically knocking all of the books to the floor to make sure that there's no more mimics in amongst the bunch.
Before I end, can I just wreck on and say maybe we should just take a short rest instead?
Very well. I could use a little seat. And he would knock all the books to the floor to make sure that there are no mimics in the bunch.
You basically perform the sword version of the burning of the books.
Oh, no, I'm not trying to destroy them. I'm just trying to knock them all to the floor.
Yeah, they all fall to the floor.
Okay.
With a gash in the front of them.
And then with
Or the
that,
spine.
he'd go through and stack a whole bunch of books to make 2 nice armchairs.
Alright, and if you guys are going to take a short rest, then I believe I will take a Ziggy break.
Okay. have a quick 5-minute break or so and come back and keep going.
I was worried that I was making it too complicated for my first time as a DM, and now I'm thinking that I made it too simple. You avoided the spiders completely.
I mean,
That was
there's no doors, there's no chest, there's no nothing. I mean, why risk it?
Couldn't see any reason to go in there and deal with a whole bunch of spiders for no real reason.
Fair. That was a bit of a miscalculation on my part.
Okay, so we'll be back very shortly.
Oh yeah, did we get the full rest?
Yes.
Oh, sure. Cool.
Love you.
I love you.
Off to bed.
Yeah, that's my head though.
Oh dear.
Wait, hold on. Where's my Duvalaki? There's my Duvalaki. And roll my hit die. 11. That takes me to max.
All right. Which doorway would you like to proceed through?
I'm guessing the one that we haven't actually gone through. So the bottom one. I'd probably knock over the book armchairs as we go through.
It would help if I didn't unplug everything.
Yeah. So I reckon we'd go through the bottom and probably knock over all of the book armchairs that we've been resting in and say, "Not today, second wind mimics."
You find yourself back at the mark where you had said that there was a dead end. So you can either circle around and re-enter the room, or you can go back the way you came.
So, just for like point of reference, I have been putting those marks every intersection that we've gone through.
Okay. Do you go back the way you came then?
Yeah, go and find a different path that we haven't gone down.
Okay. Well, you come back to the T intersection where you had previously turned right. Turned left. But the way you're facing it now, you can either go right, which is a corridor you've been down before, or you can go ahead.
Let's go ahead.
At the end of the corridor, you are forced to make a left turn, and you enter a long, wider corridor. Kind of ends about 5 feet from you to your left, but continues up 40 feet to your left. You can see down that direction, there's another chest, and there's also a corridor leading to your right.
Do you think it could be another mimic?
Sorry, I was talking to me, Mum.
You see another chest and a corridor leading towards the right. And Dr. Edmund Ploopington III asked if you thought it was another mimic.
Well, if it's another mimic, we'll stop it before if it's another mimic first.
Very good. And with that,
first.
I think with that, Dr. Mortimer would throw that hand axe that's still in his hand at the chest.
The chest breaks open.
Okay.
It was an ordinary chest. Can you roll me a 1d8, please?
Sure. Three.
You find 2 potions of healing,
Okay.
10 silver pieces, and 15 copper pieces.
More peasant change, but refreshing beverages.
One for you, one for me. Actually, no, I didn't take the other one. Yeah.
I think he'd hand you.
The second.
I think he'd hand you the second one and say, "I believe you could possibly use this a little bit more than me."
Yeah, if you're versing a simple human, so at least be able to have something to feed on.
Well, again, I am not a simple human, but
You're right, you're a dog.
and you were dead.
All right. Do you continue down the corridor to your right?
Yep.
All right. There's a corridor to your left, 5 feet ahead of you, and to your right, 10 feet ahead of you.
Okay.
That was the direction. Right and straight.
Right, straight, and left. So you can go, like, the corridor continues straight past both of those.
You know my answer whenever there's left.
Are we going left?
Yep.
You see that this is a rather short corridor, and there's a doorway at the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm gonna poke it first.
Well, as you're moving up to it, Dr. Mortimer would raise his raise the cane part of it and rap on the door 3 times sharply.
You hear an unearthly screech from inside the room.
Oh, I'm terribly sorry to disrupt you, you wailing banshee. But, what is this place?
You do not belong here.
Well, I mean, if you lock us inside, we can't really leave, can?
You have interfered with my plans for too long. I shall destroy you.
Well, you
didn't want us interfering. You should have just let us out the door.
That is a valid point. Sullivan does indeed make a valid point.
Do either of you open the door?
Oh, well, that would be rude to let yourself in. So no,
Yeah,
he's
exactly.
waiting for the door to open.
Why do we come in?
For a spot of tea
Um,
and crumpets.
the door opens. Hang on. It would help if I had reveal areas instead of select tokens. And you see like this room seems to have been added to the catacombs more recently. And it's kind of become a bit of a dwelling for the old lady you see in front of you. The old lady also appears to have been injured recently. What do you want?
Are you human?
Do I appear to be human to you?
Well, do I appear to be human to you?
No, you seem to be a nasty beast.
Well,
Your kind aren't welcome here.
Beast, more like a dog. No.
He just looks at you and barks. And then nudges you and says, so, are you planning on filling up that snack pack you got earlier on?
Roll for initiative.
That's 17.
22.
All right, Sullivan, what do you do?
Oh, what? She's actually gonna attack us?
Well, she suddenly dropped her glamour, and you see before you a nasty, gross-looking hag-like creature.
Yeah. Goddamn hags. Can I do that?
You can.
Right, and I'll try and get over the table.
Hang on, I didn't mean to move her. And what are you gonna do once you're there?
There's no other enemies, so I can't use it, damn it. Oh well. And I give her a nice slap, pat on the back. Your shoulders look a little hurt. Let me give you a nice nudge.
She screeches and howls as she bends over forward, further injured.
Doctor, I think Chum, I think she needs a little bit of acupuncture.
She turns around and looks at Sullivan And she claws at him. And she hits for 12 slashing. And that is her turn.
Okay. And with that, Dr. Mortimer would come on over and can he move over to here?
Yeah, I'll say there's enough space, yeah.
Okay. So, getting into position, he'd look over at he would would he do? I think he'd just turn around and say, "Why, yes, Sullivan, very good of you to remember what kind of doctor I am," and poke out with a roll of a 13. Attack roll 13 with his rapier.
Would you like to explain how you missed?
I'd like to think like I pierce her ear, so I pull back and then like think to myself, maybe I should become a piercer.
But yet you appear to have done no damage.
Yeah, she seems to be not bothered by that at all.
She gives you a cold, hard stare. Sullivan, your turn.
Is this room lit up?
Yeah, there's a fire in the fireplace over here.
Fuck. Would that be considered in darkness if I was standing there?
Nope.
Damn.
If you shut the door, yeah.
Actually, would that have been an advantage because of flanking?
Fair point.
Because if
You
that's
managed
the case, it's 24.
You don't just pierce her ear, you slash it off. She now has no outer earlobe on one ear.
Aha! Does that feel better, my dear?
Going to drop my sword and it's time to bring out my real sword. Then bring out a blade of shadow.
And how does that work?
And for some reason, didn't has a freaking melee attack. Alright, now it should freaking roll the attack. Damn it. It's a spell, right? Spellcast ability. There we go. There we go.
21 to hit.
You hit. Are we taking the damage from the first one or the second one?
And wouldn't that be an advantage as well?
No, because I just rolled the damage last time.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be an advantage?
Well,
So,
would be a bit.
roll
Oh, yeah.
again, flanking.
Okay, so it's 6 damage.
Take the 11. That was what damage I originally rolled.
You
I
said
got
no.
11 again as well, so it feels like it was destiny.
Alright. It's now the hag's turn. And she's angry but unable to split her attacks between the two of you. And sadly, you hurt her more, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III, so she claws out at you this time.
Verily! Come at me, old hag!
For 8 slashing.
Reduced to 4.
Lucky bastard.
Is she not doing magical damage?
Nope, she's just clawing at the moment. She doesn't to have done any just yet.
That's okay.
Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III, it is your turn.
How is she looking? What's her general state of health?
She's looking like she's got a lot of holes in her.
Aha! Time to make some more! And lunge out with the rapier again.
Oh, fuck!
Another crit! That's... just putting that out there, that's 21 points of damage.
Yep. Okay. Sullivan, your turn. You kind of get the impression that if the two of you keep this up, she will be going down.
If I use like an Eldritch Blast on the fireplace, would it be able to turn off the light?
I suppose so.
Alright, I guess I want to fire an Eldritch Blast at the fireplace.
Away.
Do I really need to roll for shooting at a fireplace?
I mean, yeah. You could roll a natural one.
It's a 21?
And it's black.
Go. Nah, I have advantage.
Got advantage anyway because we're
Oh, yeah, good
flanking.
point. I keep forgetting, I don't play with flanking rules in my game. Can I take that back and just trick an attack?
Fine.
I rarely play with freaking
And you miss.
Roll again, you've got advantage.
And you still miss.
Haha! How about the...
Alright. And because you've done a lot more damage, is after you again, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III.
Very well.
With 8 slashing.
Reduced to 4.
And it's your turn, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III.
Very well. Tell me, you old hag, what would happen if I threw your corpse onto this circle near the entrance to this crypt?
Oh, what?
The runic circle.
Ah, are you after an answer here?
Ah, no, he's kind of like just saying it and then lunging out again. Oh, good thing I got advantage because that natural one would have been bad. I'll take the 25. 10 piercing damage.
Yeah, she's not looking good. Sullivan?
So where's the hand axe on the good doctor's body? Like, is it on a belt or something that I could easily, pinch off?
Actually, because the good doctor doesn't carry equipment around like some measly adventurer, his hand axe would be in his bag. Which I imagine is like a briefcase sort of thing. Like a satchel sort of thing.
I didn't have enough money to buy a freaking like a light weapon. I was actually completely out.
24 to hit with the Shadow Blade.
Ooh. Okay. This time she turns around and claws at you, Sullivan. For... oh, fuck. 18 slashing.
That's reassuring. Sounds like a crit to me.
No, actually it isn't.
Oh.
I just didn't realize how much damage she could do with just her claws. Alright, so she does 18 slashing, and it's Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III's turn.
How is she currently looking?
Extremely holy.
And so I think with that, Dr. Mortimer would be he's kind of like salivating a bit at the moment, and you start to watch like as his body ripples out, and his clothes sort of meld into his fur, and he sprouts fur and turns into his hybrid form, still holding a rapier. It looks ridiculous because he's got such big claw-like hands wrapped around this, well, now somewhat tiny-looking rapier, and he's still holding the same sort of pose, very Fencer-esque, but he is now in his hybrid werewolf form. And that takes an action to do. But then, like, he redoubles with a burst of energy and burns his action surge. And with
convenient
that, he's going to... oh, I haven't been attacked this turn either. That's pretty cool. So yeah, he's going to lash out and try and bite. Oh, Jesus! So rolled a double crit on the advantage roll. Unfortunately, it's only...
I feel like it should, like, triple your damage, but sadly that doesn't work that way.
Sadly, no. But, so that's 6 points of piercing damage.
She is
and
very
near. She has to now make a strength saving throw, else be tripped up and sent prone.
What's the
DC? The DC is 13.
Okay, she's not prone.
Okay, and then with that, he lashes out with his claw. Oh, 7. I'm guessing that doesn't hit.
Nope.
Okay.
It's almost like you slashed at her as she fell and
yeah,
just narrowly missed.
And his werewolf regeneration kicks in. So he regenerates 5 hit points.
I'm feeling you're getting a lot more things than I am.
And Mr. Sullivan, it's your turn.
Let's give him a good advantage poke on the floor. And I want to step away. It would be disadvantage.
Because she is currently prone.
She is currently dead.
Oh.
Hence the sound.
Oh.
With a screech, she just suddenly becomes lifeless.
Verily. So, and with that, sort of, Dr. Mortimer Edmund Ploopington III is going to kind of, like, look down at it, and then, like, a bit of drool is going to, like, dribble down off his jowls, and he's going to see that and be like, oh, where are my manners? And, like, revert back to human form and pull out a sink handkerchief and dab away the drool from around his mouth before stuffing it back in his pocket. Dreadfully sorry there, Sullivan. I lost myself for a moment there.
Ugh. Always amazes me that you can always come back without well, destroying your actually it's your classy clothes at the moment.
So the way that this was worded is your clothes can meld into your form. So you revert back and they are there again.
So pretty much be wild shape of a drool.
Pretty much, yeah.
I kind of actually picked that one because of that reason.
Didn't have to get butt naked every time he got big.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. Now what?
Well, I think Dr. Mortimer, after sort of composing himself and straightening his coat over his leather armor, would poke the dead hag a bit more and kind of flick her clothes aside and try and see if you can find anything of use on the hag's body.
What stands out the most to you is the lack of items on her. Not even a soul bag. No wonder she wasn't doing magic.
Ah.
As I just down my 2 potions.
It appears that this hag was up to something sinister. Someone knocked her down but didn't quite kill her, took off with her magical items, and she was halfway through a long rest, so she only got a short rest when you guys arrived.
Verily.
And above the fireplace, over here, you notice that there should be a painting hanging there, but it's been knocked to the side. It's on the floor over here. And there's a large gaping hole in the side of the wall.
And the plot thickens, my friend Sullivan.
You just always wanted to say that, didn't you?
No, but it does. Shall we investigate? Looking around the room, do I see anything else that would be a worthwhile venture to explore?
It looks like it's just hastily put together dwellings. It's just not quite perfect. As you can see by the shape of the room, it's almost as if it's done piece by piece.
Square by
It's
square.
really-
Took about 20 minutes.
Yeah. And it's very grubby, like there's just particles from the dirt just covering everything.
Well, I don't fancy staying in a room like this, but I am interested to know what would happen if I threw the hag's body on the sigil.
Can we even get back there?
Well, he's left marks along the way, so I'll just say that you did.
I think like what Dr. Mortimer would do first up is poke his head up and have a sniff down this tunnel above the mantelpiece.
You get a whiff of fresh air.
It smells like that might be the way out.
Then what are you waiting for?
I want to see what happens if I throw the hag on the sigil. Perhaps that is just the saddest in me.
Fine.
So he'll sort of grab a hold of the back of the hag's head and like drag it along, and we'll basically go all the way back, and I'll get to sort of like
Following
here.
his little marks in the ground.
Get to here and then just like hoist the thing so it lands square in the middle of the thing.
Are you coming as well, Sullivan?
So you got out.
Are you coming?
Are you coming along as well, or are you going to stay here and wait?
I already said I was.
No, I didn't actually hear that. Okay. Alright, and nothing happens.
Ah, my curiosity's sated. Let's go and explore that hole. Sorry, good friend. Actually, on the way through, I think we'd probably like poke our heads down some of the hallways that I haven't marked the way.
Okay, well, I'll just assume that you find all the chests then, shall I?
Okay, sure.
So you find
Completionist.
one chest full of 5 empty vials and spider webs.
A large snack pack for you, Sullivan.
One chest is empty. One chest contains a greater healing potion.
You could use this one as well.
And the last chest contains a healing potion, 5 gold pieces, and 10 silver pieces.
Chop change and a drink for me.
All right. You climb up the hole,
Yep.
I'm guessing,
Yep.
and
It comes out in the same place. Verily.
yeah, I'm just gonna say like outside in the yard though.
Okay. So out in the courtyard or somewhere.
Yes.
Well,
And Sullivan, I'd want to scurry it along if I were you. It looks like the sun's gonna be up soon.
that's not good for you, my friend.
And thus,
Just there can be static comfort. Doesn't do anything to me.
and that is the end of the haunted temple.
Yay!
Wasn't really actually haunted, but you know. Don't forget to smash that like button, and while you're down there, leave us a comment and subscribe.
Lion?
Don't forget to hit that bell button.
Yep, do that one.